Hey, what's good, listeners? This is Strike a Chord, and we got Philadelphia alt rockers Sleep Cycles live on the Chris Collins Show, Millennial Talk Show. Also, check out our brand new podcast series, Off the Fret, featuring the Blowies as our inaugural guest. More music talk, and we are beyond stoked to have Chris Newhart with us. He is the lead singer and the guitarist of Sleep Cycles. So how's it going, fam?
Hey, it's going good, guys. How you doing?
Very good. And we can hear you. Okay, sorry. We've been having this like streak with our Strike a Chord artists where I'm like, homie, like where are we in the land of where sound is happening? Thank you for reading my email.
You're very welcome. I sit on Zoom like 6 hours a day, so I was like, I got this.
He's got it. He knows what's good. So, but Chris, let's get right on into it because it's my understanding that the entire band is no stranger to the rock and roll grind, as each member has played in previous bands before Sleep Cycles was created. So, how did the formation of the band get started?
Sure. Yeah, it's actually a pretty funny story. I'm like the least qualified to be in this band by far. Everyone else in the band has like, a decade of professional playing and touring and huge festivals and thousands of people playing with and all that stuff. So basically, I used to direct music videos when I first got started, like outside of college. And I had a lot of friends in the music industry in Pennsylvania, where I'm from. So I ended up doing music videos for a couple bigger bands. Those bigger bands ended up breaking up, and various members from those groups just became good friends with me. And over a couple year period, I just kind of got the nerve worked up to be like, hey, I have songs. You got to think of it.
So you were the music.
And honestly, that's called networking. Like a lot of people don't realize in the industry of the arts, I mean, just in any industry, it's the who you know and keeping after it. And that's cool. I like that.
So, like, you were a music video director, and I know, because I've been extras in a few of these music video shoots before, and I know some directors, they like to kind of set the tone, they like to play their own music. I mean, were you kind of, like, hinting and, like, throwing out your own music, and we're like, that's me, the guy that's, like, directing? Or were you, like, in the corner with your acoustic guitar going, this is a pretty slick, like, why don't you check out this lick?
Yeah. Well, what it was is, like, I had, when we did these videos, I would be like, oh, I love this part of the song. And then they'd be like, oh, yeah. Like, and I'd be like, yeah, I it's funny. I was playing this part on my guitar and it sounds really cool. and they'd be like, oh, and then like I have a tattoo of a guitar on my arm. And so they would always be like, oh, you have a guitar? Do you play? And I'd be like, yeah. Which it's funny. It's just
promotion. It's like you're a walking business card.
Who would have known? I like that. I like that.
Yeah. And it's just so funny because then you just start like everyone comes over on like a Friday night, you have a couple of drinks and somebody inevitably like gets a guitar out. And then you're like, oh, right. I could do something here.
So is that like how that naturally happened with Sleep Cycles? It just became like where you guys just naturally kind of just joined up in one room together and it's just like someone picked up one of your guitars and was just like, Chris, let's see what you got. Like, what do you got going? And then they went, oh my gosh, a little bit different. Well, explain to us, like, how did that all go down?
I was playing with Promise of Redemption, which is Shane from Valencia's side project, and I was the guitar player for that, which was awesome. It was so much fun. The bassist playing in that project was Chris Paulson, who's in Sleep Cycles. And then we kind of stopped playing live shows and, things happen in life where you just like move on from projects. And Chris just kept hitting me up and was like, hey, we should keep playing because it was really fun, like playing with you. And I was like, yeah, because like you're professional and I just was like in the background playing guitar. So I kept being like, I have so many songs, I'll send them over. And I didn't have a single song. And I was like, we're definitely going to jam. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. I'm just really busy and maybe in a couple months. And I was like trying to write songs to be like, here are the things that are in my head.
That's like an actor being like, oh yeah, I totally can sing. Like, no problem. I got it. And I'm home, I'm like, okay, what note am I on? Because I can carry a tune, but I'm like, I have no idea. I can't read music. So I'm like, okay, what am I doing?
Right.
Not lie.
That's why we have people like Christopher Walken singing in the Jungle Book. I mean, people who just lie. I mean, but hey, Chris, it's taking you places. And I think that's so funny how you said that, like, you're like, you got all this music, but you don't really do. And is that how you treated it in the year in 2020 when the band started to record music in what was called Diver Down Studios with producer Fed Mascherano. I hope I pronounced his last name right.
Mascherano.
I recognize his face. I mean, the dude's iconic. I mean, everybody that grew up in middle school like me, we all know the iconic Taking Back Sunday. He was the co-vocalist. I can already see him, his hair blown in that fan music video. We all know what's good. I find that so cool that you guys actually got to link up with him. And I also know that your bassist, Chris Polson, played in his side project, Fred, the Color Fred. But how did you guys get on board with recording with him and to mix your latest tracks?
Sure. So that's a really funny story. When we were at a point where we had a couple songs written, we were like, we should record these songs somehow because we're all old. Nothing's ever going to happen with our career. Like, it's only downhill from here. When you're in your 20s, you're like, maybe we'll get signed, maybe we'll tour. And then you do all that. And then later in your 30s, you're like, I don't want to tour.
Is that why you guys call each other?
I got to mow the lawn Saturday. I can't miss that, you know? So we ended up being like, who records, blah, 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 going through producers near us. And Chris was like, oh, I'll just hit up Fred. I think he's starting to record people. And we were like, okay, you'll just hit up Fred.
Right.
And then he was like, Fred's in. And we were like, what? Okay.
That's insane. I mean, just the fact that Fred was so cool and open-minded. I mean, he obviously sees the great potential that you guys have with this band. And you know, Marissa and I, we clearly saw that too. And we instantly fell in love with your first ever music video, the 88, which I need to address this with you right now because I have no idea what the 88 even means. So, can you explain what that reference means?
Absolutely. So this is such a bad, embarrassing story. So
go on.
The morning we released it, it was the number 88. And in Philadelphia, the song is about my time in college living in Philadelphia and kind of living in the ghetto near Temple University and having no money and being life sucks. And being I got to move out of this terrible life. And so I took the 88 bus to school every day. And so I just kind of named it after the bus route. Oh. And then we released, and it was fine. It was cool. You know, it was this has so much meaning to me. We put it out. And the first day we released it, all these people were like, 88's like a neo-Nazi symbol.
Oh. I know. And I was gonna say that. Oh. I was totally gonna say that. I was like,
no.
Well, I'm so glad that we gave you the opportunity to address yourself. I really had no idea about any of that.
Bolts. No, it's the lightning bolts. My ex he did some tribal.
What? You have exes with that?
No, people have lightning bolt style, and so they think he's a neo-Nazi because of lightning bolt. And all it was some crazy geometric just happened to line up. He's like, I'm not racist. I just took the 88 bus.
Now that makes even more sense because, Chris, you sing in the following in the chorus, we're never leaving if we don't get out. You'd rather live and die inside this town to get halfway home to a shit-down home in the city. So now it all makes sense even more and more. I find that so cool. And even we could easily tell your music video directing experience because you directed this first ever music video for Sleep Cycles. There's not too many band members who multitask at the same time. And let's let the CCS family know what's good, Marissa. This is Sleep Cycles music video, the 88, live on the Chris Collins Show, Millennial Talk Show. Yeah, that's what's good. That is Sleep Cycles, and you can check out their track, The 88, out now on all the streaming services. Just go and find it, fam. Support the group. It's amazing. But you are listening to Strike a Chord, where if you physically or digitally pick up that record, you're going to know these tracks. And we got vocalist and guitarist Chris Newhart with us live on the Chris Collins Show, Millennial Talk Show. And you know what? I was sort of teasing you a little bit yesterday when we got to speak in the pre-show, but like what I find is very fascinating with your guys' group is you guys are not afraid to go against the industry standards, especially when it comes to your song format, because I don't know too many alternative rockers or even in the punk rock industry that exceed even further than 3 minutes and 30 seconds, because I always have a joke with Marissa on the show that like if you go past 3 minutes and 30 seconds, it better be a fucking Metallica song, because it better be that fucking good, okay?
Well, hopefully that's just your thought on music and not something else.
Oh, look at you, Marissa. Ha, 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 ha.
Oh, my God.
I gotta throw one in. Come on. It's been a while.
Roasted.
It's been a while.
Okay, it was funny. I'll give you credit for that. But no, on the real, I mean, there's not too many artists today that are doing a Metallica or Tool-esque music. And why did you guys feel like you guys wanted to go in this direction? Because I know if you weren't dealing with producers, like let's say Fred, for example, maybe Fred understood it because he's not like the OG music producers of the day, which are, you know, you go to these major record labels, they're going to laugh in your face, Chris, and they're going to be like, dude, there's no way we're going to be releasing this song as a 4-minute, 45-second track. I mean, how are you able to make this happen?
Oh, my God. Everybody in the band is very much against my long songs. So
really? So you're
yeah.
the one that's very passionate about it, and you keep moving it forward, and you're like, hey, man, do you want someone to sing on the track or no?
Yeah. So they keep being like, oh, so this is like the last chorus, then we're out. And I'm like, well, then we go to the second. And then we go to the, and then I didn't even tell anybody I was doing it, but I added a whole end thing in the studio without telling anybody with the acoustic.
I like it. It gave me like A Day to Remember kind of vibe, you know, kind of like what they did with the previous releases.
That's so funny because I liked it too. I was like, oh, that's different. That's cool. So you got our approval.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's so funny. Everybody was like, what the hell is this? I was like, I felt like putting another 30 seconds on.
Well, hey, it's working, Chris. So whatever you're doing, keep to what your mindset's telling you, because you're there, my man. But I did want to reference this with you because last week, I mean, Marissa and I spoke with vocalist and guitarist Danny Resnick of Astoria State, which we had no idea that you were also going to be playing on the lineup bill with them during their 15th year anniversary show with the red jumpsuit apparatus.
What? I just found that out.
Yeah, and you're going to be opening up for that show this Saturday at a place called the Debonair Music Hall in New Jersey. So how does it feel to open up for such an iconic band like the red jumpsuit apparatus?
It feels really awesome. Everybody like kind of grew up listening to them in like the scene, and our bassist Chris he's like a tour promoter, so he like books tours for bands, and he's been doing that for like 15 years. So he has these crazy connections, and so we were like, we need to like, what's our first show gonna be? And we were like, there's a bar nearby we could probably rent out, you know, like like a terrible show. And he was like, no, let me see who's playing. And so being able to get on the show like that was like incredible.
As your first live show. Like that's once again networking, people.
Okay,
throw it out there.
The fact that you just said first live show, Danny said something really funny with us last week where he said the first time Astoria State ever played together as a unit was live in concert.
Wow.
Like he said that they only recorded mixtapes and then they mashed it all together. Are you guys performing for the first time ever on Saturday, or have you guys had previous gigs in the past?
We've never had a gig before, so this is our first time anyone will ever have seen us.
Amazing. Man, I would. Why aren't we on the East Coast? I would love to be down there right now. And you know what's really awesome, and I appreciate you doing this? We're actually going to be having a world premiere of your latest single that just dropped today on streaming platforms for everybody to go check out right now, obviously, and after the show. The song's called Confines, and you sing a particular line in the following chorus where you say, "So call me from the next life, tell me what's out there, we're living in a shadow. motto. And Marissa and I were sort of talking about it before the show, and we were like, kind of reminded us of like Lion King's circle of life. I mean, is that sort of what you were trying to get at with this song?
Yeah, it's funny when you think of death, it's often like this mysterious thing, and everybody has a different idea of what it is because no one knows. But during the pandemic, as soon as it started, my best friend passed away.
Oh.
And so I wrote this song about him and sort of being like, he was a staunch atheist, and we argued all the time about what happens when you die. And so this is just an ode to him to be like, let me know, let me know what is out there.
How do you feel even when you were writing this, song process? I mean, was this kind of like your way of coping with that struggle? I mean,
it's my way of sort of being like, I really hope that there is something out there, and sort of my sort of lament in there's a process of grief and mourning where you start to eventually move on, and then you start to feel guilty that you're moving on. And so that's sort of in the lyrics of that word. I'm like, I even made plans for New Year's Day. We're going to drink the bottle dry, like in a toast to you. But like, I kind of feel weird celebrating in that moment,
Right.
So there's sort of this like combination of things where you're like, I really hope that everything's okay. And I hope that you were really fucking wrong about nothing happening after you're dead.
Absolutely. And I hope the same too, man, because I hope to live in the next life as well. And I find it a beautiful track. And Marissa and I were honored to be having the world premiere of this latest single from Sleep Cycles. And you possibly could hear it live if you go and see them on Saturday.
Yeah.
This is Sleep Cycles. This is their brand new track, never been played live on air until now. This is their song, Confines.
Wandering all the goddamn time. Even moved to a new street to give my eyes something to seek. I've been looking for ways for the last 300 fucking days to find you in the lights, but you just seem so far. So call me from the next life, tell me what's out there. Now I'm finding my pain, and even made plans for New Year's Day, when we drink that bottle dry to the last drop. I always wanted to see if the earth would grow or if it breathes some new life into what's been left behind. But now I feel it again. I feel the purpose of what's within. Was it you again, floating through a windstorm, looking through the night? All we all see is you again, sleeping in the stars. Was it you again? Tell me what's out there. We're living in
That is the world premiere of Sleep Cycle's latest single, out now on streaming platforms. That song is called Confines, and we're honored to be able to showcase that, Chris. I mean, it's an amazing track. You guys, every single song you guys release, it gets that much better. Not like we don't like the 88. We love it. But, I mean, it's just the music quality gets better and better each time, and we're beyond stoked. And let the CCS family know what's good, Chris. Where can they follow you on social media and get that tickets to the show this Saturday?
Sure, absolutely. So you can go to sleepcyclesmusic.com. We have links to buy tickets for our shows. We have a show coming up tomorrow with Red Jumpsuit Apparatus. We have a show in November with the Spill Canvas.
Awesome.
You can also stream our songs there, links to Spotify and everything there. So just to check that out.
That's what's up, Chris Newhart. We love you, man. And thanks again for joining the Chris Collins Show, Millennial Talk Show.
Thanks, guys. You rock.
Fellas.
All
Thank
right. Have a
you.
good show.